In one of the most competitive sporting leagues in the world, coaches often find themselves struggling to slot into a role. Mike McDaniel, much like other coaches, has had to endure the same process, finally landing himself the head coach job at the Miami Dolphins in late 2022. However, McDaniel would finally make a name for himself during the Week 3 game against the Denver Broncos, scoring 70 points on the Broncos and creating one of the most impressive offensive showings the league has seen in numerous decades.
Block in there, and down it goes, caught at the 30. This is the dynamic Hill. He's in for 6. Look at Hill, 2nd and 4, quick count. And Tua, down the middle he goes. And it is caught by the time.
Today, we look at the man himself and find out how Mike McDaniel went from assistant coach throughout his career to making such waves in the NFL that many people are calling him a diabolical genius. Born in Aurora, Colorado in 1983, Mike McDaniel always had an affinity for the game of football. After graduating from Smoky Hill High School in 2001, the future star played college football as a wide receiver for Yale, eventually graduating with a degree in history. But by the tender age of 22, McDaniel would already be hired by the Denver Broncos as a coaching intern, already connecting with Mike Shanahan, a figure that would become pivotal in the career of this coaching genius. With McDaniel on board, the Broncos under Shanahan would finish with a 13-3 record, even defeating back-to-back Super Bowl champions, the New England Patriots, in the divisional round.
Right into the arms of Larry Foote. So much for the big return.
However, in his first coaching season, McDaniel would lose in the AFC Championship to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And Plummer, pocket collapses and he falls with a fumble. And for the Broncos, big to huge to something even bigger than colossal.
But McDaniel would continue to pursue football greatness in the years to follow. After the 2005 success with the Broncos, McDaniel would be hired by the Houston Texans as an offensive assistant under head coach Gary Kubiak. In fact, Kubiak played a large role in pulling McDaniel to Houston. Here, he would stay with the team until 2008, before being hired by the now-defunct California Redwoods as the running back coach. McDaniel would stick with the team as they moved to Sacramento before the NFL came calling in 2011. It was here that McDaniel would reconnect with Shanahan, eventually becoming the wide receivers coach in 2013. But under Jay Gruden, McDaniel would be shipped off to Cleveland. During the next 3 seasons, McDaniel would spend his time as a wide receiver coach and offensive assistant for the Cleveland Browns and Atlanta Falcons. But it was perhaps the 2017 season that would propel the then 34-year-old into the world of becoming a household name for fans and players. You see, McDaniel was slowly becoming an important figure in the world of coaching. By 2017, he would become the game coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers under new head coach Kyle Shanahan. It was here that McDaniel learned some of the ins and outs of offensive football, helping the 49ers reach the 2019 Super Bowl before losing to the Kansas City Chiefs 31-20.
Now with Kittle at fullback. Quick snap, handoff to Coleman. Nice run, Tevin Coleman, down near the 25.
By January 18, 2021, he was officially promoted to offensive coordinator to the San Francisco team, following the departure of Matt LaFleur, who would move on to the New York Jets. However, just 1 year later, on February 6, 2022, McDaniel would be offered a life-changing job as he would be called on to become head coach of the Miami Dolphins, and the rest, as they say, is history. By the time McDaniel would arrive at Miami, the Dolphins were still under the leadership of Brian Flores. During his final season, Miami would find themselves 1-7 before turning around the season to finish 9-8 in the end and finishing 3rd overall in their conference.
Ingold goes over to take the snap, trying to run it in, and there's a flag down.
4 for the first down, 6 for the touchdown. Tagovailoa throws, it's caught, big hit. On play action, Tua comes back to the second option, and nothing there. Savon Ahmed chopped down.
You see, even with such impressive performances, Miami would still find themselves lacking confidence, and none would be more apparent than the low confidence of key man Tua. In fact, CBS reported that during the season, Tua would ask himself, "Do I suck?" The quarterback would throw for 16 touchdowns and 10 interceptions during the 16 regular season games, while only putting up 2,653 yards. Things were going so bad for Miami, reports even surfaced that no one had any faith left in Tua Tagovailoa. But to top off all this doubt, rumors of a possible Deshaun Watson trade were also becoming apparent. But much like the tension between Tua and the front office was rising, Brian Flores and Dolphins owner Stephen M. Ross were also running into a few problems, leading to Mr. Ross finally pulling the trigger and firing Flores on January 10, 2022. This would start the journey for Mike McDaniel. Even though confidence in Tua was at an all-time low, Mike McDaniel was one of the few coaches in the NFL who still had some faith in Tagovailoa.
Hill in motion. Tua slinging it near side. It's caught.
Mostert, blocked by Lamb, and he's got his receiver again. Hill riding him down. Michael Davis. Look at Hill, 2nd and 4, quick count. And Tua, down the middle he goes. And it is caught by the tight Turner.
In fact, McDaniel would go as far as backing Tua during the media conferences and trying his utmost to ensure the star can feel confident once again. To restore his self-confidence, McDaniel would show Tua a 700-play highlight tape, showing some of his best plays, while constantly using affirmations to boost the 3-year quarterback.
Goal for Tua. Mostert is back there. Lamb a block. It's Mostert. Blocked by Smythe!
Finally, McDaniel took the time to get to know Tua, understanding truly what his strengths were and how he's become the player he is. Armed with this knowledge, it was on to the trade market, with McDaniel aiming to find a way to improve the offense to such a degree that it would truly benefit Tua. McDaniel would start by getting 3-time All-Pro Tyreek Hill on the team, costing the Dolphins a whole host of picks, but McDaniel knew getting someone of such caliber on the team was going to cost them. To supplement the acquisition of Hill, Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane would also be added to the squad, giving Miami a much-needed injection of pace.
Chargers only rush 3. Tua steps up in the pocket, and he sees Tyreek Hill one-on-one on that right.
Not only would this offer the Dolphins more options on offense, but all these players were arguably the fastest in their positions, which played perfectly into the skill set of Tua. Once McDaniel had his team, he would create one of the most impressive plays that would decimate the league. You see, every great coach tries to come up with an answer for the problem that defenses pose. However, many coaches simply focus on creating the answer before the game and sticking to it. When the opposing defense presents them with a new problem, they don't have any answers, and this is when an offense is shut out. However, Mike McDaniel's been around the league for the better part of 2 decades, and he's seen it all. Being such a dynamic coach, McDaniel's able to adapt his offense philosophy to answer defenses with another answer, officially putting the ball back in their court to create another problem. The answer to this stroke of genius might lie in a single play, which has made Tua one of the quarterbacks in the league. The play involves the elite quick release ability of Tua, and the play revolves around a concept where Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle would start opposite the play. One would then jet motion on the other side, picking up a head of steam, allowing the receiver to go outside, cut inside, or go deep. Thanks to the speed of specifically Hill, defenses playing man coverage had no answer for the pure pace, and forcing defenses to constantly consider his deep running ability.
First time he's active now at left tackle for Kendall Lamb. 1st and 20. Here is Hill. Little juke step.
Tua fires left side for the end zone. Tyreek Hill touchdown.
Return for a touchdown in the middle. Now going deep to the far side. Caught. It's Hill.
The play itself is designed for Tua to read the inside seam type route. If the route is blocked, he would look for Tyreek. If defenses are playing blitz or zone, the quick dig would be open. However, deep zone defense would allow the Dolphins to gain at least 7 yards underneath with a little slide route. In fact, the Dolphins rinsed and repeated this play, turning Tua into a superstar. But as Week 14 came along last season, Brendan Staley was shutting down the middle of the field, simply blocking this magical play from having any bearing. In fact, Tua went 3 for 15 in his first few drives. This was the first time that someone presented a problem to McDaniel, one that he would chew on all offseason. As Week 1 rolled around of the 2023 season, Tua and Hill would answer this problem, with Hill going for 215 yards and 2 touchdowns. Instead of motioning all the way across the field, Hill would line on the same side as the play. This time, Hill would be motioned slightly outside, opening up a new running lane while the Chargers were pressing the seam line. But with such a pace advantage, J.C. Jackson had no chance guarding Tyreek, and when he did go deep, he left the inside open, essentially giving the Dolphins a direct answer for the Staley defense. Essentially, McDaniel was showing off his football philosophy of creating an answer for defenses, but once they came up with another problem, he managed to dynamically change his approach and give them another answer. By doing so, McDaniel shows defenses that he's constantly thinking of new ways to outwit them, and due to the dynamic playbook of the Dolphins, it becomes incredibly difficult to defend. However, McDaniel managed to identify the strengths of his players, specifically that of Tua Tagovailoa, and turn the 25-year-old into one of the most feared quarterbacks in the game. As one play began to rule the league, McDaniel's been adapting and changing, finding numerous solutions for every problem the opposing defenses come up with. But with such success so far, do you think Miami's truly a team capable of winning the Super Bowl?